Hello, I'm Pamela Atkinson. I'm a community advocate, and I became acquainted with Volunteers of America many years ago when I was trying to help the Homeless Youth Resource Center. And I realized that the Homeless Youth Resource Center, standing on its own, just wasn't working. And so I approached Volunteers of America and Jeff St. Romain, and then later Kathy, and we were able to have Volunteers of America take over the Youth Resource Center, and my goodness, what a difference it's made. I was also involved in a homeless outreach program, and Volunteers of America approached me about taking it over because I was limited with just one other person with whom I was working, and it became the Volunteers of America outreach program, and I continued with that for a number of years and would go out on Thursday mornings, and I just loved the people with whom I was working. And Kathy asked me to be on the board of Volunteers of America, and I declined, much to her surprise, but I felt that I could do more as a champion of Volunteers of America. I've been surprised at how many times I talk about Volunteers of America. You know, they're in the business of changing lives, and all of the contributions that go into making services available for all of our homeless friends, whether they be young or old. It's the whole continuum. And as I've watched many of the outcomes of what they've done for people, I just stand really amazed. It's not only that they care for homeless friends, whether young or older, but they care about them. And it's this caring that makes such a difference. Sometimes my homeless friends tell me after they've been visited by somebody on homeless outreach, you know, Pamela, I'm beginning to feel loved. He said, I think these people like me. And I say, Johnny, I assure you that they do. And when you look at the whole array of services, it's really a miracle, the changes that occur. And we count it as a miracle if somebody's coming in for services but never speaks to us. And then maybe 6 months afterwards, they'll say, hello, and then a few months later, they'll start a sentence and then have a conversation. That incremental change, each one is a miracle for somebody who doesn't usually speak to other people and who's usually just out on the streets on their own. When you look at the accomplishments, and they are accomplishments, of what Volunteers of America does with the money that you, and I mean you, donate, it's crazy. It's quite crazy. Do you have checks still? You know, I have a few that I write just every now and again, but if you look at the check, it tells you what to do. The date, it says date, and it says to whom, and you just write in Volunteers of America. And don't forget, you know, if you put $3 down, you could actually add some zeros and you can make it 30 or 300, whatever you feel like. We'd really appreciate you being as generous as possible. The other ways, of course, are the credit card, which is becoming the main way nowadays. So you can give by credit card. All I'm asking is that you give what you can and you feel comfortable with. And recently, I've been hearing people say, I feel so guilty looking at what's happening in Ukraine. And I had some of those feelings too, that I couldn't do more, but I could send money. But let me tell you what else you can do. You can look around and see what needs to be done at home, as well as donating to Ukraine. But don't feel guilty. Just reach out to somewhere like Volunteers of America and donate there, whether it's time or in kind or a certain dollar amount. Donate there, and I'll tell you, you won't feel guilty anymore. You'll feel pure joy that what you are doing is going to make a difference. Sure, your donation to Ukraine will make a great deal of difference, and I applaud you for doing that. But if you feel you want to do more, consider Volunteers of America. And if you want to volunteer there, they'll gladly take you. But just remember that you're taking the lives of these young people, the youth, and people of all ages, and families, and even some older people that sadly we're seeing on the street now. You're taking their lives, and because you care to give, you're helping them change their lives. You're really making a difference. And I can assure you, there's no greater feeling than you feel you've made a difference in somebody else's life because you cared enough to give.